Do you guys ever get like super depressed? And it's not like that Shawty cheated on me with the whole football team depressed.
Nah, we're talking about the what am I doing with my life depressed.
That's sitting up at 3 a.m. wondering if you should keep going or give up
Depressed, think I'm wasting my life away depressed. If you think you have it hard, chances are you should probably stop thinking altogether. That's what William James believed, and this is how he went from broke chump to American icon. It's 1842 in New York City, and William James has just spawned in. However, this dude came out of the womb absolutely nerfed. He was like half blind, he had back problems, a permanent tummy ache, all of which could pretty much be seen as lethal in 1842.
That being said, William was actually born into a pretty rich family. Both his brother and his dad were very successful, and he wanted to follow in their footsteps.
However, it took him quite some time to even find their footsteps. Now, whether it be the internal conflict that he had with himself or external pressure from his family's successes, James knew that he wanted to be something great. So just like every other rich kid out there, he decided that he wanted to pursue art. In the late 1850s, he studied under an artist named William Morris Hunt. Now, James realizes pretty quickly that he is definitely not cut out for this and quits. So then he decides that he wants to take a try at college.
In 1861, he enrolls at Harvard University to study chemistry. Unfortunately, he realizes that he hates the lab work and switches to medicine by the year 1864. Now, this is where things get a little crazy. So in 1865, he drops out of Harvard Medical School to join a scientific expedition to Brazil. Yeah, so you remember we said this guy was nerfed from the start medically? Yeah, it's about to get much worse.
While in Brazil, James contracts smallpox, which leaves him bedridden.
He is unable to take part in most of the program and actually doesn't end up returning to the US for over a year.
When he returns to the US, he's in his mid-20s. He drifts physically weak and mentally unstable, and is often still bedridden at times. Not to mention, he's also suicidal and struggling to find his meaning. Now, this is where we get our first win. Mr., or should I say Dr. James finishes MD in 1869. Unfortunately, he actually never uses it. But 1 year later in 1870, he reads an essay that will absolutely change his life.
The essay was written by a French philosopher named Charles Renevier. Renevier.
Very smart man.
I don't know. I don't really be speaking Spanish like that. So anyway, the essay's main talk points were accountability and free will. Now, Renevier talked a lot about self-accountability and moral growth, highlighting that the more we hold ourselves accountable for our actions, the more we can reflect and develop.
Now, James reads this and just makes the most psychotic decision ever.
He basically says that for the next year of my life, I'm going to blame myself for everything. Now, you can imagine this is probably really hard for this guy because up until now, he's had probably the worst luck of all time. So to sit down and say that you're going to take accountability for everything that's going on in your life when you've been dealt these cards, little insane. I mean, he really just took the idea that more accountability leads to more self-development to the extreme and just ran with it. And James's informal experiment turns out to be really successful for him, and a year later he lands a teaching job at Harvard. Now keep in mind, at this point in the story, James is about 30 years old, which by no means is our boy a geezer. But you got to keep in mind the life expectancy was about 40 to 45 years old for the average male back then, which was cool because guys died before they could get erectile dysfunction, I think, but not cool when you spend the first 29 years of your life wanting to kill yourself. But luckily for William, things were about to turn around. After over 30 years of getting his butt absolutely kicked, William finally finds his passion in writing. I guess our boy was an artist all along. However, in true William James fashion, it did take him quite some time to actually find a way to publish his work, and it wouldn't be for another 18 years in the year 1890 when he published his first ever writings, The Principles of Psychology, which was a groundbreaking blend of science and philosophy, which led William James to be referred to in modern times as the father of American psychology. So this is one of my favorite stories in history. I love talking about this one. I just feel like everybody kind of has a purpose here, and some people are given more lessons before that purpose is put in front of them so they can be great at it. William James is somebody that almost committed suicide before he found that purpose. He probably compared himself to people that were more successful than him, and he probably thought of every reason to give up. But for some reason, he didn't. Do with that what you want. Hopefully my videos are making a difference or whatever. But that concludes our documentary about William James. Make sure to bring him up in your next bar conversation so you seem a little bit cooler than you actually are. If you liked the video, please subscribe and leave a comment about something that you've always wanted to do, but you just haven't done it yet. See you guys in the next one.